What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's Resto Druid video. I got to give a big shout out to Lone Wolf 7303. It was not for him sending me a private message, I would not have done this video. I would have just waited till miss. I was not going to do a video this week. However, Lone Wolf and two other people have private messaged me about glyph questions, as well as comment questions, as well as some guildies, as well as my own questions. So I kind of wanted to do just like a discovery video about all the glyphs that Resto Druids have, what we're going to be taking for maybe raids, for maybe dungeons, what are our different options, okay? So I'm going to go through these with you step by step. First, we're going to start with minor glyphs, okay? The only minor glyph that you actually need is Glyph of Grace because it reduces your fall damage while not in cat form. Other than that, again, there's really nothing else that really matters. Stag is fun, the Chameleon's fun, Tree Ant's okay if you like to be a broccoli. Other than that, though, there's really not anything that you need, okay? So what I've done is I've deleted my three major glyphs so that we can go through them and discuss each of them. We're going to go through every single one, okay? First glyph, Glyph of Barkskin, reduces the chance to be critically hit by 25% while Barkskin is active. For Resto Druid, there are much better options. Okay, we're not going to take this option. It does not make sense for us to really care if we're critically hit unless there's a boss mechanic on a raid fight where it automatically will crit you. Then maybe this would be okay, but you got to remember, Barkskin's already at 20% damage reduction. This is not upping our damage reduction. This is solely upping the fact that we won't get critically hit, and it's only by 25%. So keep that in mind. It's not like it's 50% or 70% or anything like that. It's only 25, so a quarter more. Not really that big of a deal. Okay, more of a PvP talent than anything else. I can see it as a tanking talent as well. Resto Druid, not going to use it. Next glyph, Glyph of Blooming, okay? Increases the bloom heal of your life bloom when it expires by 50%, but its duration is reduced by 5 seconds, and your healing touch and nourish and regrowth abilities no longer refresh the duration. You used to have to spec into this, okay? In Kata, you had to spec into this. What you're doing is you don't care. I don't care about my bloom heal, okay? Because I don't want my life bloom falling off. I use my life bloom a little bit differently than some people might. I always keep my 3 stacks of it up, okay? And then what I'm doing after that is I'm using my nourish, I'm using my regrowth, my healing touch to go through and to refresh not only my life bloom, but I'm refreshing my harmony, which is my mastery, because I'm using a single target heal. I don't want to have to deal with that, okay? Like, I don't want to just set it and forget it. The only time I would want to set it and forget it is if I'm raid healing a 25-man raid group. I can throw my life bloom on a tank. I can throw my life bloom on some random person. It doesn't matter. And then when it expires, hopefully they're not at full health. That's the problem with life bloom, is you're hoping that when it's done that you don't have to do it. Okay, and the only way to refresh that life bloom so it doesn't bloom is so that you'd have to reapply a life bloom, which is kind of a dumb way to waste a global cooldown when a nourish would refresh both your harmony and your life bloom if you didn't have this glyph. I don't like this glyph. Okay, again, PvP, it might have some abilities. For PvE, no, not going to happen. Cyclone, if you take this glyph as a Resto Druid, if you take the glyph of Cyclone as a Resto Druid, I don't want to speak to you. You are doing it wrong. Please don't ever take this glyph. Same thing with Dash. Again, for PvP purposes, it may have a purpose. Do you need to be able to run every 2 minutes instead of 3? No, you don't. You have feline swiftness. If you are in the wrong, and you have stampeding roar, if you are in the wrong position that many times, you just need to learn to play better. Okay, there's no reason to take this glyphs when there are many better viable options. Okay, Glyph of Healing Touch. When you cast Healing Touch, the cooldown on your Swiftmen is reduced by 1 second. I like this glyph. I really do. The reason I like it is because, am I using Healing Touch a ton? No, I'm not. Will I be? Possibly, especially in 10-man raids, using your Healing Touch after, you know what I mean, if like you've got a tank who's consistently taking damage, sometimes using Healing Touch is going to be needed instead of nourish, okay? If you don't need to use that quick burst of a regrowth, instead you can use this. It's a double benefit for you because you also get your swift mend reduced quicker. However, it's a play style thing, okay? Keep in mind your swift mend is used to heal groups of damage. It's not used to blanket people. Remember, the initial hit of a swift mend is hard as well, so you don't want to just be randomly wasting a swift mend. You can keep it ticking in a melee group or a range group, and I understand the people who do that. But again, know when you need to use it and make sure you have it then. It's a lot better to use it when you know you're going to need it than to use it because you can use it. Okay, do you see where I'm coming from there? But again, I like this glyph. Hurricane. Again, the only time you would, you're not going to need this. Okay, it's just, please don't use this. The only time you're going to need this is on fights where you would need to slow a lot of ads, and typically that's not your job. So I wouldn't really worry about this one. It may have some use on certain ad fights. I'm not saying it's completely worthless, but I'm saying it's pretty close. Okay. Innervate. Your Innervate is cast on a friendly target other than the caster. The caster will gain 10% of maximum mana over 10 seconds. Okay. Causes the target to regenerate 10% of the caster's mana over 10 seconds. If cast on self, the caster will generate an additional 10% of maximum mana. So, this glyph, do you want 20% of your mana or do you want 10? Okay, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Especially in the beginning, guys, you're not going to be able to be giving out Innervates, especially as a Resto Druid. Now, if you're a Boomkin, maybe, but as far as your Innervates, you're really going to want to use those yourself. You're going to need them. You're absolutely going to need them. We do not have a lot of mana regen, okay? So you're going to want to keep your Innervates for yourself. I know it sounds greedy, but it's true. Glyph of Life Bloom. Casting Life Bloom on a new target grants the target as many applications as the old target had. This effect will not occur in Tree of Life form or when Life Bloom has less than 2 seconds remaining. Okay. What we're doing here, guys, is this is another situational glyph. I love this glyph. I personally think this is a great quality of life change for a Resto Druid because it eliminates you during tank swapping to have to restack your Life Bloom and waste those global cooldowns, that valuable global cooldown when you could be casting something else to get more throughput, okay? What I would recommend doing is using this glyph in raids, obviously, if there's 2 tanks, okay? If there's not 2 tanks and in dungeons, do we need to be casting the Life Bloom stacks on somebody else? Probably not. So I would say that in 5-mans, whether they be heroics, regulars, or challenge modes, this glyph probably not viable. I would say that in 10-man raiding on 1-tank fights, this glyph would probably not be viable because you just want those rolling on your main tank at all times. That's what they're good for, okay? Other than that, you don't really need them. So that would be my recommendation. 25-man's absolutely 100% you want this glyph. 10-man's probably not, okay? Might of Ursak. Again, like I said, if there's 2 tanks, you're absolutely 100%. If there's not 2 tanks, don't worry about it. That's going to be the rule for 10 or 25-man raiding. It really is. It's 2 tanks, yes. 1 tank, no. Might of Ursak. Increases the health gain from Might of Ursak by 20%, but it increases the cooldown by 2 minutes. Again, it's possible it could be good. More of a PvP talent than anything. It's going to have its moments for sure, but for Resto Druids, most likely not, okay? Nature's Grasp reduces the cooldown of Nature's Grasp. Go away, we don't care. Prowl reduces the movement speed penalty of Prowl by 100%. Believe it or not, guys, during leveling and possibly challenge modes, If there's packs that you can get away from by stealthing around them, this may actually show viability in certain situations. Okay, obviously for 10-man raiding, probably not, because who cares? Or 25-man raiding, but there might possibly be some challenge modes where if everybody in the group has a stealth ability to be able to kite around a certain pack of ads that maybe take a really long time that aren't necessary for you to kill, it may be viable to shave off seconds of your challenge mode times to do that. Okay, so that would be the only time I can see it being viable. Obviously PvP probably has some definite viability there. Glyph of Rebirth. Resurrected by rebirth are returned to 100% health when they are rezzed. Again, guys, this is a good glyph. I like this glyph. This is definitely one. With this one, Glyph of Life Bloom and Glyph of Healing Touch. So far, we've got 3 glyphs that are viable, that we can see situationally have a benefit. This glyph, maybe, especially for a 10-man raid group, it may be a staple that you have this, because people are going to die, they're going to mess up. You just cannot avoid this. So I would say that it's definitely possible that you need this. The nice thing about this glyph is obviously they're full health. You don't have to worry about spamming quick heals on them and praying they don't take damage so they die again. It is a nice glyph to have. Okay. Rejuve. When you have Rejuve active on 3 or more targets, the cast time of your nerf spell is reduced by 30%. I like this glyph. I like this glyph a lot. I use this glyph quite a bit, especially in 10-man raids and in 25-man raids. In dungeons, sometimes not so much, because just throwing random 3 rejuves out is, you know, it's okay. But I definitely do like this glyph. I like being able to, as soon as I know I have those out, I can throw out nourishes. Like, it's my job. I can be pretty mana efficient that way. So it's going to be better in the beginning of an expansion than it is towards the end, probably. So I would definitely play with that. That would be glyph number 4 on my list of useful glyphs. Okay. Savagery is a feral, we don't care about. Skullbash is feral and guardian, we don't care about. Solar Beam is balance, we don't care about. Stampede, you can now cast Stampeding Roar without being in bear form or cat form. This has implications for being very, very nice to have. Sorry, I don't know who that is. This has implications for being good, just as a quality of life. If you see what I'll do right now is I'm just gonna, there's my Stampeding Roar, I turn bear, but if I change it back, okay, I still get my movement speed increase, and I'm still healing. So is it really that big of a deal that I have to cast a heal or change out of bear form to go back? Worth a glyph? Probably not. But again, it's a quality of life for you. If you like it, use it. If you don't, don't. It doesn't really matter to me. Okay.